the Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by DraftKings. Week 4 DraftKings picks and preview position by position. Want to let you know to smash the like button to the episode. Subscribe to Mayo Media Network, and in the comment section, give me your favorite wide receiver play in the 3K range on the main slate this week on DraftKings. That's the Millionaire Slate, the early and afternoon games on Sunday only. No Thursday, no Sunday night, no Monday night, no Island games as a part of the main slate for those of you who ask. And I got a huge both announcement and giveaway for all of you out there. Have you ever wanted to run your own projections, made super easy, wanted to use a daily fantasy optimizer, but you didn't want to pay like $250 for it? Not a problem. Run the Sims is free from today all the way through Sunday. All you need to do is just put in an email and boom, you're good to go. You get full access to runthesims.com. So I highly recommend that you go do that right now. And if you sign up for runthesims.com with your email, obviously, to log into the account so you can use the tools, you're also eligible for one of 10 monthly Run the Sims packages, a $333 ticket into the Wildcat on DraftKings, and 10 Millionaire Maker tickets. It's going to be a draw, so I highly encourage everyone to go sign up right now. RunTheSims.com. Okay, Listeners League link is in the description. My cheat sheet will be up on DKNation.com starting on Friday. Davis Mattek from the TakeCast, from Sports Grid and and Daily Roto. There we go. Davis, what's going on, man?
You know, not a ton going on. Thursdays, actually, you got me on a good day. Thursdays are kind of my lightest content day, so I had time this morning, and I feel very blessed to have joined my friend Patrick Mayo for the Daily Road, for the DK preview.
Yeah, we so rarely go more than a month without talking, but it's been like 6-7 weeks.
I know.
Have you checked out the new NFTs show on Mayo Media Network?
I have, yeah. I like, I'm going to forget the handle of the guy who does it, but Skylar is, of course, my good buddy. So I was really excited to check it out. I think they do a good job. I would tell everyone to listen to it if you're trying to learn a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn. So I feel like I have a better grasp of everything that's going on right now. But we're here to talk about DraftKings. First impressions of the slate. Easy slate, hard slate, soft pricing, tough pricing. What do you make of it?
So, you know, so the way that I do it is I do my full update and refresh of projections on Tuesday morning. Wednesday, I try to actually not touch them that much because I don't want to be like overreacting to, you know, like, because I do the Swolecast on Wednesday, and that's kind of when I bring in DFS content. My first reaction is that it was going to be kind of a straightforward-ish style slate, but it looks like Darrell Henderson is going to play for the Rams, and it looks like Dalvin Cook is going to play for the Minnesota Vikings. You know, our two highest value running backs in our projections were Sony Michel and Alexander Madison. So and have you noticed this? DraftKings is just like, remember playing cheap wide receivers? Remember when you could play cheap wide receivers who would get you points? Like, they're just over that. They're just not giving us those cheap wide receivers anymore.
No, we got someone at 3,200 this week we can play for sure.
If you tell me to play Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I might agree with you.
Akina Matata in your lineups, $3,200. We save all the money. No AJ Brown, probably no Julio. They're playing the Jets. This sounds pretty good. Ferkser's back though.
Ferkser is back. What is Ferkser's price? Are we playing the Ferk Daddy?
Ferk Daddy's 3,100
on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's 3,100. So I released a full injury report. That is on the Mayo Media newsletter and the website that's out there. You can find that. It's free to join. It's in the description. You can just click on it, go to the full injury report. I have it updated through Wednesday evening and Thursday morning. Like you said, Cook, Henderson, both likely in. Elijah Mitchell is probably in. Tevin Coleman is back for the Jets. Not that that really matters. So at running back, we have some guys here, and I will update that injury update. I'll have an injury update on probably Saturday morning as it pertains to the overall rankings, and if you really wanted to know that, and I'll release another newsletter as well. So go sub to that right now. Smash a like to the episode as well. Derrick Henry's the most expensive against the Jets at $8,800. Then you got Kamara, Cook, who's now looking like he's back in, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. Those are all the guys above $7,000 this week. If you're going to pay up, it feels like Henry is so easy against the Jets. Although the Jets run defense like hasn't been horrible.
Yeah, but I mean, like Julio Jones probably not playing this week. AJ Brown definitely not playing this week. I mean, even if the Titans blow out the Jets, which I actually think I'd be kind of surprised by, like I think the Titans are going to be a popular survivor pick this week, and I don't know, they make me a little bit nervous because I don't think their coach is very good. I don't think their offensive coordinator is very good. Vrabel seems fine. And I don't know what the team's offense is going to look like with Westbrook and Ferkser and Chester Rogers as the drivers of the passing game. But yeah, I mean, Henry's going to get like 25 touches minimum in this game, it feels like.
It's too bad that, I mean, you know, my propensity, and I've gotten away from it so far this year, which has actually led to a lot of success. I credit runthesims.com for that free trial going on right now. Just go sign up. You can use the optimizer of not playing like the loser running backs that I always like to play at like $4,300, and all of a sudden
you love loser running backs.
I know they're my favorite, but I haven't played any so far this year. Although I feel like it cost me a lot of money last week because everyone talked me out of Peyton Barber, and I was like, no, Peyton Barber's in a great spot. He could score 3 touchdowns in this game. They're like, no, Peyton Barber is god awful. And it turned out he had a great week. So that 1 week per year where my loser running back would have come through, I didn't even play it. But I feel like McNichols is going to get some run in this game because who else do they have?
I mean, so Jeremy McNichols, you don't watch college football at all, right?
Nope.
Okay. So Jeremy McNichols, I'm like not being facetious. This guy was unbelievable in college, and he played for a good team too. He played for Boise State teams that were like, ranked teams, and he was incredible for those teams. Caught a bunch of passes, averaged like 6 yards per carry, scored like 30 touchdowns. Like I have always left the light on for Jeremy McNichols. So I truly would not be surprised if he did get, 5 carries and 3 or 4 targets in this spot at all.
I'm actually with you. I think this game remains a little bit closer. I actually took the Jets against the spread here after Cust made the Titans his super lock at -8 and then picked him in Survivor, really putting on the full Ander curse on the Titans to try to propel the Jets to victory. But do you trust Kamara at all? Because he's getting the volume, but he just doesn't. He looks good, but everyone knows where the ball is going in this offense.
No, I mean, I'm not worried about Kamara. And, so like our ownership projections are wonky right now because I don't have Dalvin Cook, adjusted in our stuff yet. We have him projected for 18% ownership right now. That looks really rich. I would guess that as we get a little bit closer to Sunday, it'll be more like 10 to 12% for Kamara and like 20% for Henry. And if you give me that discount, I mostly play single entry and 3 max. I would definitely rather have a 10% owned Alvin Kamara against the Giants, who are obviously terrible. The Jets and the Giants, it's like the same matchup at this point.
Can I interest you in a Giants Jets money line parlay this week?
No, because I was tweeting. I tweeted the other day, like I think there's a chance that the 2 New Jersey football teams win like 6 combined games or something. Like they're so bad.
Well, running the optimals this early in the week, and yes, this does credit Dalvin Cook as being in and giving him stats. Kamara ends up in the optimal. If you run the Sims 10,000 times, Alvin Kamara ends up in the optimal lineup around 17% of the time. That's the highest of any player.
Which that makes sense, right? Because the guys who are going to hit the optimals most often, I see this all the time when I do Sims on our side is running backs who have the propensity to catch a lot of passes are going to flood optimal Sims because that is including, games like Najee Harris had last week. And then also wide receivers who get carries. And maybe this is a flaw in how we do Sims, but wide receivers who get a little bit of carries. So guys like Tyreek Hill, guys like Robert Woods,
Debo.
guys like Laviska Shenault, Debo and Ayuk, actually great examples. Those guys end up being way better on like the 90th percentile of Sims than you would expect.
No, I actually think that makes a lot of sense, but that would translate into real life too. If they are getting extra touches, that's just another way for them to score and thus hit their ceiling.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just another way to get, a 50-yard touchdown or whatever. And for running backs, though, it's not even about the touchdowns. It's just, on DraftKings scoring specifically, Alvin Kamara could catch he could literally do what Najee did last week, right? He could catch 14 passes and not score a touchdown and still like break the slate.
It's true. What do you make of Cook? If Cook is playing and Cook is back in, I don't think people are going to flock to him on DraftKings at this price at $8,100. They'll be worried about a split. They'll be worried that he's not 100%. What do you envision the situation becoming?
I don't think I'd be worried about a split. What I would worry about is just that this is a game that Minnesota ends up losing, right? And Dalvin Cook is fine in losing game scripts, but I think for his price, I guess 8,100 is pretty good for Dalvin Cook, but I don't know. I feel like I would rather, like if I'm taking running backs in bad spots this week, Saquon looks like a running back in a bad spot to take for tournaments this week.
So of the top 5 guys for the Chubb and up, the big 5 this week in terms of the pricing on the main slate, which one are you going to play, do you think, in your single entry 3 max, or do you think it's a double pay like mid-range week? At running back? I don't think I'll play any of them. I think I'm looking much more at taking stabs at the $6,000 guys because again, it just goes back to what I was just saying before you reminded me of Westbrook, is that like we cheap wide receivers, like it's kind of flip-flop. You know, we used to play DFS, right? I'd come on this show in 2016 and we'd be like, all right, you play David Johnson, you play Le'Veon Bell, you find 2 4K wide receivers, bada bing, bada boom, you find your money on Monday morning. And now all the best scorers in fantasy football are wide receivers. So there's a lot of opportunity cost in giving up, in giving up those wide receiver slots for cheap guys. So I like the 6K running backs just in general as a strategy this season much more than I used to. Do you think that the public has come around to that yet, though? Because we always see there's a little bit of lag on DraftKings, especially in football, because it takes people a little while to get acclimated to what's going on. The perfect example of this is actually from season-long football, where Cust, to this day, will, like, if there's a decision between, like, if he has a wide receiver who's good and a running back who is mediocre on his bench and one of them has to be his flex, he will just instinctively just use a running back every single time because, hey, why wouldn't you want to flex a running back? Although that is clearly not the right strategy whatsoever. That so far this season, for the past few years, it's been pay up at running back, find your value receivers, like you said, go print some money. But do you think that there is now like still a little bit of a gap where people aren't paying up at both quarterback and receiver in these, unless it's like a high-end stack, which people still like, but as one-offs at the top end of receiver, that people are just passing on that because that's just not how they've played the last 3 years?
I mean, you see this every week in tournaments, right? So every week, our optimal percentages, which is like, percent chances of being in the best possible lineup, the top of that is always Tyreek. It's always Devontae Adams. And it used to be DeAndre Hopkins, but his target share is way down. And Stephon Diggs. Those guys every single week, they're the best leverage plays because people don't think that way. So like, I'm going to go do my stack, right? I'm going to do my Mahomes Tyreek stack, but very rarely are they doing their Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley stack and then also playing Tyreek Hill in that. They are playing Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey or Alvin Kamara or Aaron Jones or whoever in that is their high priced, quote unquote stud. And I think that is not optimal given the distributions of scoring now, because these wide receivers, Devontae Adams just got 58% of the Packers targets last week. Like it's just a different game that we're all playing now.
It's strange because the names that you mentioned are not the names that are popping out in terms of the optimal wide receivers this week as one-offs. It would be Justin Jefferson that we have at runthesims.com. Again, runthesims.com, get your free trial. You can go adjust all your target shares and everything like that and run your own optimals and see what ends up coming out per your stats. But it's him and Beckham are 1 and 2.
Beckham looks big for us in the leverage scores as well. And I might even be a little bit low on his target share. What do you have inputted for his target share?
Oh, now I got to go take a look at this, don't I? Let's see. Slates, inputs. Where's that stupid game? Odell Beckham, 27% target share, 28% receiving market share, and a 66% catch rate, which doesn't sound outrageous. I'm not going to lie to you.
So I am lower on all of those numbers, which is why, he's still, even being lower than those numbers, he's still showing up as a leverage play. And I might need to go rework that. He came off the ACL injury last week and had what was it, a 31% target share. So I might be a little bit low. So that would definitely be something like I go through on Friday morning and make a bunch of micro adjustments after, doing content all week and talking through the games with all my friends and everything. So that might be a spot that I find myself a little low.
So the 6K range, pretty padded. Najee Harris is $6,800. That's going up against Green Bay. And, when you're averaging 20 targets a game, it's tough to get away from you. You mentioned Barkley earlier. He's up against the Saints in a bad matchup. Madison, it's not official that Dalvin Cook is going to be back as of yet. I think if Dalvin Cook is out, enough people will have built their lineups and generated their lineups that Madison, assuming Cook is back, wouldn't be in them. So you can just...
Same thing as last week where Madison was like, he was popular, but he should have been the most popular play of the slate.
Yeah. So he's at 66, Zeke 65, Sanders at 64, Jonathan Taylor, Chris Carson, DeAndre Swift, Antonio Gibson, Kareem Hunt. That's everyone in the sixes. There's like 10 guys. They're all, I think you can make a pretty compelling case for a lot of them. DeAndre Swift looks really good in this spot though.
Yes. Yeah. He looks phenomenal. He is, he's got to be close to leading running backs in target share. He's got a 19% target share. Now I bet you see this all the time. Like people see the Bears defense and they think like, oh, the Bears defense is really good. Well, it's really not. And also it doesn't really matter for the way the Lions play anyways, because Swift is going to get these checkdowns regardless of who the Lions are playing against. Like, it's not like they're going to change their offense. And the easiest throws to make are checkdowns to the running backs. I really like Antonio Gibson. So the reason, one, the Falcons are terrible, and this has the chance to be like a good game script for him. He only played 57% of the snaps last week. He was only targeted 2 times, but that was the exact game script you don't want him in. And it's not like JD McKissic got like the Alex Smith target share. JD McKissic saw 2 targets, the same as Antonio Gibson last week. So I think Gibson looks like the best play and definitely going to be super low. Like no one is going to want to play Gibson after how bad Washington looked last week.
Well, if we're looking for the pivots in this range, I can see Gibson. Barkley, like you said, going up against the Saints just probably doesn't track to be all that popular, but volume is always going to be king. Jonathan Taylor has been pretty underwhelming, although the matchup is pretty juicy against the Dolphins, being less than a field goal underdog in this spot. So you would just expect that the game script stays relatively neutral the entire time. Then you get a ton of running. He's looked good in his minimal touches. The problem is you're now having to bank on him being super efficient because the volume may or may not be there at this point. The one that really stands out to me because he seems wildly mispriced based on what we saw on Monday night, but he is the perfect type of guy to win you a GPP, is Miles Sanders against the Chiefs.
Yeah, Sanders could get, 7 targets or whatever. And it's not like he wasn't playing. Like, I think you might look like, oh, he only got 2 rushes and 4 targets, but he played 60% of the offensive snaps. Gainwell got like some like design stuff, but he got 1 carry and 4 targets, played on 31% of the snaps. I like Miles Sanders probably is like kind of interesting as like a Chiefs bring back or whatever, but I don't know if I will get there in single entry stuff. Like, I don't know if Sanders will make the list for me just because there are just a ton of options this week. I don't know if he's like the best.
Who is objectively the best? Is it Zeke at $6,500? Because that Carolina D is good, but is it?
Objectively, the one that I projected for the most points is Najee, but I'm making a huge assumption on his target volume, and it could just change overnight. Like Ben could just decide to not do that anymore. So I think objectively the 2 best are Najee and DeAndre Swift because of the pass catching.
It's funny because when I look at it right now, the projections actually have DeAndre Swift and Chris Carson as the top 2 plays, Barkley ahead of Najee Harris.
I like Carson. I'm very worried about his target volume though. They are just not throwing the ball to him at all. He has 5 targets through 3 games. His snap shares have been reduced. So in that Minnesota game, he only played 43% of the snaps. They brought in DJ Dallas and Travis Homer to play in that game, which is really, and even Alex Collins actually too, which you really don't want to see if you're Chris Carson, because Carson needs the the touchdown equity, because the Seahawks run those wheel routes all the time. Like Carson scored so many touchdowns on those wheel routes, and those are all going to Travis Homer right now, which you do not love.
All right, so we'll downgrade Chris Carson a little bit. So Swift seems to be, between you and I, probably the best play here. I don't think that's going to be a secret to a lot of people this week. And then trying to find, I mean, we can just even drop down to Chuba Hubbard a little bit at $5,900. I feel like people aren't going to play him because
I agree.
They're scared of Royce Freeman for some reason because of his better pass protection. But I think you want your better playmaker in there to give you another offensive weapon now that you're down Christian McCaffrey in a game where you're probably going to have to score 40 points if you want to win.
No, I am with you for sure. I don't know how to project him. So right now I have Hubbard as a slight positive value with 52% of the rushes and 12% of the targets. You could argue both of those numbers are wrong. Like Mike Davis, when Mike Davis came in to begin the season with Christian McCaffrey out, he was way above those numbers. They weren't really playing a second guy at all. And then as Mike Davis, he's Mike Davis. He played a lot less, but I mean, Hubbard could get 70% of the carries and 15% of the targets and all the goal line work for the running. Like Hubbard could pretty easily get, 20 DK points here while like having a bad game, I think.
Yeah, it's funny just looking at his like boom rate and bust rate. He's at like a 40% boom rate at the moment, but he has a 30% bust rate because I like to jump on these complete unknowns when they're going to be lower owned, when people really have complicated feelings about what someone's role is going to be. But I can at least create a path where this can go really well if it goes well, and just live with the consequences if it goes badly. So I think Hubbard's going to be in the lineups. I'm trying to figure out how I want to attack that game. Do I want to do a Carolina stack with a Dallas bringback? Do I just want to play Zeke and Hubbard in the lineup? And that will be like my mini stack of that game, and then stack another game as I go through it. So I'm trying to work out the best possible way to deploy him because I want to play DeAndre Swift as well. So Hubbard, I think, is going to be one of my key guys here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Hubbard as well. I think he will probably make my single entry 3 max mix, especially because I, want to have the Cowboys for sure.
What do you make of Henderson at 56 coming back? Like, that role is going to be impossible to know. He still may not play. He's back practicing, but bruised ribs are bruised ribs, and it's a bit different when you're a quarterback or a receiver versus a running back who's just going to get pummeled the entire game. I can't imagine he goes back to the workload he had in week 1 and week 2 before he got hurt.
Yeah, which is, I mean, if we thought he could, if we thought that Darrell Henderson could go back to literally not leaving the field.
Yeah, he would be the best play on the slate if that was the case.
But I don't know. I mean, Sony got 24 touches last week. They won the game and everything, but it's not like, I mean, he's Sony Michel. Like, it's not like he came in and was like blowing the doors off. So I would imagine he goes back to the bad end of the timeshare and that Henderson plays all the passing downs. The question would be, what do they do at the goal line? Would they bring Sony Michel in for the goal line stuff? Or are they just like the Buccaneers where there is no goal line stuff and it's just all passing, which it might be. But I mean, if Henderson is going to be 1% owned in this spot, which I don't know if he will be or not. Like, I don't know how other sites have him projected and stuff, but if he is going to be truly low owned, then I would be interested in, and I think he could even be a single entry 3 max guy.
Could be, but you have David Montgomery, $200 more, who's like top 5 in the league in running back snap share. I can't tell if the Lions run D is good or not because Baltimore just said, yeah, we're just not going to run. How about that? Joke's on you. The Bears are going to be running in this spot. And I don't know who's playing quarterback for the Bears. I have to assume it's Justin Fields and they figure something out for his second start, but Montgomery, I think, will carry around the same sort of non-ownership because Kareem Hunt off a good week, people are going to own him. Hubbard's not going to be completely unowned in that spot, and Swift is right there, and then you have all those good options in the 6s. That Montgomery, for someone, if we're trying to project volume, him, Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the $5,000 range are probably the guys that you can count on to at least get the ball a ton.
Yeah, I wonder if CEH is actually a good play again because the Chiefs should, I mean, if they have trouble against the Eagles, then things have really gone south for them. So I would imagine this will be like a pretty good game script for him. He was not involved in the passing game last week. He happened to score his touchdown via reception, but he had 2 targets for 8 yards, one of them being that screen pass touchdown. I do think that he is. I don't know if he'll make the single entry mix. Maybe I'll end up needing a guy that cheap, but I definitely, if I was MMEing this week, he would be in my player pool over guys like, Melvin Gordon, guys like Gaskin, guys like Zach Moss or Tyson Williams.
I don't think that Zach Moss is a horrible play here with the Bills being a 16-point favorite, because he is getting the goal line work.
No, I don't think he is either. I think he's fine, but I would like CH a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that to be true as well, but once we start getting into how many more times owned is Edwards-Helaire going to be over Zach Moss?
5, that's a good
6?
question. Yeah, Zach Moss will be like 2%, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire will be like 6%. So yeah, that's right. And we actually have Zach Moss as a big leverage play.
Hold on. You think that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is only going to be 6% owned, coming off a week where he was chalk anyway and came through for people?
Yeah, I actually think you are missing that Montgomery is going to be popular. I think Montgomery will be pretty popular.
Can I bet you that David Montgomery will be lower owned than Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yes. Yeah, I'll take David Montgomery for more ownership.
All right, I'll take Clyde Edwards-Helaire for more ownership. $50?
$15. Got it.
I am undefeated in these bets so far on this show. It's the only bets that I'm winning so far this year, is just betting ownership bets with people on the show. Poor Levitan. I rooked him in week 1. I think he felt bad for me and just wanted to give me money because he has so much.
What did you guys bet on?
What was it? That Kamara would have more than double the ownership of Derrick Henry in the $100 Millionaire Maker, and he did. He had like 2 point.
Okay, yeah. What contest are we using to judge this? The Millie Maker?
Yeah, $100 Millie Maker.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about that.
Anyone from down the list? How about your Eskimo brother, Cordero Patterson?
No, I think if I was going in your range of bad running backs, I think it would be Eli Mitchell.
Yeah, but we're not. I mean, Eli Mitchell's still $5,400, and what's his role going to be coming back from this shoulder injury? Again, he may or may not play. He's trending towards playing at the moment, but like Sermon looks god awful, but Juszczyk looks pretty good.
Well, that's the thing, is I don't think they want to play Juszczyk like a running back, and I think that Juszczyk usage was a signal that they just don't trust Trey Sermon, and that Eli Mitchell is going to have a job when he comes back. That's the thesis behind the play.
Is there anyone from down this list you would even consider at this point?
No, I'm not. I think the running back most weeks the running back player pool is fairly thin. I'm not really seeing anyone down here that could be a play. I mean, maybe Michael Carter, right?
No,
if Tevin Coleman doesn't play.
Who Jake made this kid? Tevin Coleman looks like he's off the injury report, so he is playing.
Yeah, so never mind then. Never mind. Literally, yeah.
On the ranking show, Jake was making a case for Michael Hurricane Carter for me too. Like, why? What have you seen from Michael Carter to be like, man, what a play?
I was trying to give you a crappy running back to play.
I got a crappy running back. I'm not going to play him because I'm abstaining from anyone in the 4K range, just to try to keep my profits at least somewhat level here. David Johnson he runs the most routes of any of these Texans quarterbacks. And in this specific game script, he could have like 7 catches or something. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that's more on the table for him than almost anyone else I see down here.
Yeah, probably not making the mix for me.
No. All right, let's move to receiver. At the very top of receiver on this slate, it's Tyreek, Devontae, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Hopkins, Diggs, Jefferson, Metcalf, Lockett, Ridley. So that's 7,000 to 8,000. It doesn't seem prohibitive to take Tyreek Hill if you wanted to. 8,000's not a terrible price. I would wager that Adams and Kupp are going to be the 2 super highly owned guys. Like I told you, the optimals really like Justin Jefferson. Diggs has been secret bad this year, fantasy wise.
Not even secret bad, dude. He's not even getting targeted really.
No, just the entire defense is just like, you know what, Buffalo, Stefon Diggs is not going to beat us. How about you just beat us with everyone else on the team, which they've been doing the past 2 weeks. I just don't know if Houston has the capability to shut him down, and eventually they're going to want him in a spot in this circumstance, just to kind of show out a little bit. I just think that's going to happen with the Bills here being this big of favorites. Hopefully they don't let me down, because I took the -16 and I'm betting the -16, because how does Houston catch up in this game? The one thing they can do, throw to Brendan Cooks, the Bills actually have an answer for.
I mean, it's Anthony Miller season.
That's actually not a terrible idea. Now that
I thought that was going to be the bad wide receiver you were telling me about, because I could be sold on that. I don't think I can be sold on Nick Westbrook, but I can be sold on Anthony Miller.
I don't think you need to be sold on Nick Westbrook. Akina. I think that's right.
Is Julio for sure out?
No, he's not. Not as we record this, but he hasn't been practicing, and it's not. It could be a veteran, like, hey, that's going to be the one tricky part with Julio this week, because he won't have to practice in order to play.
I mean, he did that all the time in Atlanta.
Yeah, and we just see this with veterans anyway. But every time that he's on the injury report, outside that one time when he had like 500 yards against the Panthers, he's usually pretty terrible in the games that he comes in questionable.
Yeah, he limps off or whatever. How many times have I seen Julio Jones limp off before?
So what would you want to do because we'll talk about stacks a little bit later on. And then, if you're playing a Chiefs stack, you are using Tyreek Hill. If you're playing a Rams stack, you are using Cooper Kupp. Like, let's not get that twisted. But as one-off plays from up here, I don't know if I want to stack that Vikings-Browns game, but I think I'm going to use Jefferson.
Yeah, I would always use Jefferson. I mean, my favorite wide receiver plays this week, obviously Tyreek. You're going to have leverage on Cooper Kupp teams. You're going to have leverage on Travis Kelce teams. Like, I mean, you have leverage on Devontae Adams. Like, he just clearly is such an amazing tournament play. Then obviously the Cowboys guys, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, obviously DJ Moore. I think Claypool is a really strong play. Looked like he was the targets per route run guy last week. I think both of the secondary Buffalo wide receivers are. I mean, Cole Beasley and Emmanuel Sanders are really good one-offs, I think. And then I'll save you from doing it. I'll be the loser who says, can Cooper Kupp really keep out targeting Robert Woods like this? Robert Woods is 5,300. Do we really think that they should be that different?
Yes.
I did it for you, so you don't have to.
I wasn't even going to say it. I was going to say just play Cooper Kupp, don't play Robert Woods. Just win money instead of losing money, and you'll be much more appreciative.
I'll probably I gotta be totally honest, I will probably play a little bit of Robert Woods this week.
It depends on how many lineups you're going to play. Like, if you're playing 150, for sure. If you're playing 50, for sure.
I play like 5.
I'm going to play 20. Robert Woods isn't fucking touching that.
Yeah. I mean, it's very reasonable to just not play bad players.
Like why is Robert Woods a better play than both? Like, why is he a better play than Corey Davis at $5,000? Like, that's the jet you want.
Well, I mean, his team total is how much higher? Like 15 points?
Sure. That actually doesn't make a difference in the grand scheme of things. You're going to get a very positive pass script for Corey Davis, potentially a ton of garbage time. And I think that looking at both team totals and game totals can be a fool's errand sometimes, because the best leverage actually comes from low totals that you project to go over, because no one's going to be playing guys from that game.
Right. I mean, I don't think Robert Woods will be very popular, though.
I think that there's enough Galaxy Brain people to be like, yeah, no, Robert Woods, finally his week. And they'll have like 3 points.
I mean, we do have Woods. We have Woods as a negative leverage play. We have him right now 10% owned, 8% chance to be in the optimal. Whereas we have Cooper Kupp, 18% ownership, 14% to make the optimal. So honestly, both about the same badness of tournament plays.
All right. So this is something like, listen, I do some research / I pay someone to do research for me for the newsletter. Sure. So it's actually good research. And going through this stuff, where is it right here? I'm just trying to pull it out. It's a Robbie Anderson fact for you against the. Here we go. Robbie Anderson. Since the beginning of last season, the Cowboys defense, Davis, ranks 31st in deep completion percentage and 32nd in deep touchdown rate. This season, Robbie Anderson has a 31.6% deep target market share and a 6.1% market share on all other throws, and has an ADOT that is greater than DJ Moore's and Terrace Marshall's combined. Feels like this might be the week. No one is playing. That's where I would go instead of Robert Woods, because if he hits, it's going to count.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he is like the better, leverage play, right? If you're doing Dak, Amari, and Dalton Schultz or whatever, or Dak, CD, and Amari.
How big of a trap is Dalton Schultz this week?
I don't really think he's that big of a trap, actually. Is that a hot take that I don't think Dalton Schultz is a trap? I mean, he had 6 targets in the first game when Gallup was healthy. He played 73% of the snaps in that game where they just ran the ball a ton against the Chargers. And he played more snaps, ran more routes, and was targeted more often than Cedric Wilson and Blake Jarwin in the win against the Eagles. He is just, for whatever reason, I don't know why they have determined this, but he is basically the third wide receiver without Gallup out there.
I see the logic behind the play. I'm not hating on the play. It seems
but he gets 3 for 30.
Yeah.
100. Yeah, he just gets 3 for 30.
Yeah. Like if he's going to be the overwhelmingly popular tight end cheap play, like I'll just take someone else.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we don't have him projected to be that owned, but again, it's early in the week and there's more time to catch up. I mean, do you get the sense that he'll be popular?
I do. I mean, everyone watched that Monday night game, one of the highest rated games in ages. He showed out. He's a good price. Why wouldn't people play him?
I mean, my fish brain wants to play him. How good of a mega leverage play is Blake Jarwin?
I don't think very good. Like you'd have to get there are better options, I think, down there, or just trying to figure out a different way to attack tight end. Like why would I want to play Blake Jarwin?
Because he's the mega leverage, dude. He's leverage on, like, imagine a Blake Jarwin one-off in like a Chiefs stack is like you're getting leverage on like Chiefs. You're getting leverage on like Mahomes, Kelsey teams. You're getting leverage on all the Dallas, Carolina stacks.
Yeah, but you're playing a guy.
That's my galaxy brain.
You're playing a guy whose legitimate chance to be in a winning lineup is like 0.001%.
If that even, honestly.
So that'd be a fade for me in that circumstance. Could you live in a world...
Back to wide receiver.
Yeah, back to wide receiver. Could you live in a world where if Andy Dalton started, all of a sudden you can play Allen Robinson again?
Our stuff kind of like likes Allen Robinson every week, and I'm just like, dude, Nagy's got to show me something. I actually think Darnell Mooney at 3,900 looks a little bit better because it seems like Fields likes throwing to him more for whatever reason.
Well, what do you mean? It seems like what did Fields throw the ball 9 times last week?
Yeah, well, it was just a mess last week. I don't know, man. That felt bad. That was not a good situation for the Chicago Bears last week.
If you want to pay up at running back or tight end or quarterback, I think a way to not like cheap out at wide receiver, but there is that like these $5,000 guys I find really intriguing. So like Beckham, I think is a really good play at $5,800.
I agree with you. I think that's right.
Devonta Smith is like king of the unrealized air yards right now. He's $5,700, and you know they got to be passing against the Chiefs. And then Cortland Sutton was good last week. They just didn't need him at all. And
Didn't need him at all.
Baltimore's secondary is awful.
I mean, they're just everyone on Baltimore is hurt. Like the linemen are hurt, the linebackers are hurt, the safeties are hurt, the corners are hurt, and you are dead on about Sutton. You know, his poor performance last week had nothing to do with like health or anything. 5 targets, caught all of them. They just there was no impetus for them to pass in that game. And KJ, I mean, he only threw 25. Teddy Bridgewater only threw 25 times, and Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton both got 5 targets. So I'm with you for sure on Sutton. I actually really like Sutton this week.
And then if you go down to the bottom of the 5s, as I said, Robbie Anderson and Corey Davis as your pivot plays. I think that's where you can gain some leverage in this spot. You said you like Sanders. Do you think people will go to Sanders coming off the big week?
No, I don't think people like to play those Buffalo secondary guys unless they have them in a stack. You want to hear the puke play. It's Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown keeps getting these deep shots. They keep going to him. You can do the little correlation there. You could do Cortland Sutton and Marquise Brown is like a little mini correlation, and work that into a Minnesota game stack or whatever fairly easily. And I mean, Marquise Brown's like whopper or whatever. When Frisco Josh does his air yards buy low thing, I guarantee 100% that Marquise Brown will be the number 1 guy this week.
Crowder appears like he will be back, thus stealing all of Braxton Berrios' thunder, but it does give them a nice, reliable option over the middle. I don't think I want to target too many Jets in this position. Jalen Waddle is 49. He'd have to do it himself, it feels like. Just shimmy 3 people on one of these like bubble screens and go to the house. That's how he's scoring touchdowns, because he's not getting targeted down the field at all.
That's how he scored at Alabama, though, to be honest.
Yeah,
he was getting lots of that stuff at Alabama.
Unfortunately, I know the Colts defense is banged up, but it's not like he's out there playing Vandy's defense.
It's true. Yeah. You know what? I actually take back what I said. There are a lot of cheaper-ish wide receivers to pick from this week.
Now that we've talked through them?
Now that we've talked, like I can see Manny Sanders or Cole Beasley getting 25. I can see Mecole Hardman getting like 18. I can see Tim Patrick getting 20. Colin Johnson or Kadarius Toney for the Giants.
We'll get to 2L Colin in a minute. I like 2L Colin.
Okay. I like him too. He's a good player, I think.
How much heat have you taken for old man AJ Green just being good again?
Well, because I actually listened to Mike Leone for one of the first times ever. I actually have him on a bunch of my best ball teams. So it's actually kind of one of those things where sometimes you feel glad to be wrong. You feel glad to be practicing a little bit of humility in your drafting. So it should bum me out much more than it's currently bumming me out.
I actually think this is the week to go back to Rondale Moore if you wanted to.
Rondale.
Yeah. Like last week was such an obvious Christian Kirk week. This week is such an obvious Rondale Moore week.
Well, and so you look at his snaps, comfortable win week 1. Rondale plays 29% of the snaps. They're chasing in week 2, 46% of the snaps, comfortable win against Jacksonville, 34% of the snaps. So I think the inference there is when they're chasing, they're going to go more for wide receiver. And that means more snaps for Rondale.
And just how you want to attack the Rams are sort of the short, get Rondale Moore the ball in space and make him let people miss, because it's just so hard on the outside with the Rams corners to just attack them just down the sidelines. You need to hit the middle of the field. You need to hit them short, and you need to use speed in order to get around them. I mean, that was one of the biggest problems that the Bucs had last week is Antonio Brown would have been good kryptonite against the Rams. He just wasn't there.
He would have been. That's true. I mean, I don't think it would have made much of a difference to the game, to be honest. Like I'm pretty sure the Rams are just better than the Buccaneers, but it would have at least made the game a little bit more interesting, probably.
Other than that, if we hit the 3K range, once again, sub to Mayo Media Network, smash the like to the episode, and in the comment section, give me your favorite 3K receiver. Tyler Conklin showed up on the injury report, and he might not play now. So you got Anthony Miller at 37, KJ Osborne coming off his first bad week. $3,700. Greedy Williams is starting for the Browns because they have injuries in the secondary. Like, those two are not awful plays. I don't think so. But, I mean, we've talked about the name like 3 times already. $3,200. Although Cameron Bastion Booger on the Titans, I just kept seeing last week. I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But then it was when Westbrook Akina caught the touchdown, I legitimately didn't know who that was.
The only reason I know who that is do you remember the Titans COVID slate last year where they played on Tuesday? I think it was against the Bills.
Oh yeah.
That's the only reason I knew who he was, is because was from, I think he was the second wide receiver for them in that slate. I mean, he went to Indiana, not particularly athletic, was a 4-year college player, like not really a guy to get that excited about. I actually think 2L Colin Johnson is probably, or maybe even Kadarius Toney. I think either of those guys maybe are the punt wide receiver plays.
I think Akina is probably the safest of these guys going up against the Jets. I have a lot of faith in the Saints secondary and the Saints defense overall. I think that Colin Johnson, I mean, listen, I don't know a ton about Kadarius Toney. He seems more like a speed gadget type guy. Colin Johnson is just fucking big.
He is.
Like, if you want someone to like post, if they're going to be like focusing right now, because Ingram's back, obviously Galladay's dealing with the hip injury. If they choose to take away Galladay in the red zone, I could see Colin Johnson being the guy they throw to.
Yeah, I mean, like, isn't it just kind of sad that like Kenny Galladay has gotten to this point in his career where every other wide receiver on his team is dead, and we're talking about his crappy teammates instead of him, but I have no interest in playing Kenny Golladay, and I do have interest in playing Colin Johnson.
Josh Reynolds would be the other Titan that maybe you could play, but Westbrook-Ikhine was the one who was running all the routes last week, and he scored the touchdown. So volume-wise, it should be him if both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are out. The one I actually have my eye on the most right now is if Curtis Samuel plays, he's the min. And if he plays, I am playing a lot of Curtis Samuel.
That is a good catch. I knew that he returned to practice, but I did not realize that he was priced at the minimum.
Like that has to be, even if you don't, as long as he is active, I think you have to gamble that he's a part of this offense because they've been using Dynamite Brown or whatever the fuck his name is. He sucks.
He's been bad, yeah.
But people love him though. He's really good according to the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him. I held out a little bit of hope, but it's just not going to happen, I don't think.
I mean, maybe down the line it can happen, but there is such an overflow of targets in this offense that Adam Humphries is getting like 8 a game. Just slot Curtis Samuel into the Adam Humphries role, and he might get like 13 targets, and he'll rush.
Yeah, no, I think you are. I think you are correct. I think probably if Curtis Samuel is active game 1, what do you think? He probably plays about 50% of the snaps. He gets 4 targets and 2 carries. That's probably the role he slots into right away.
Curtis Samuel, if he's active?
Yeah.
I think if he's active, I don't think that they would push him out there with like a one, especially because he had the groin injury in the preseason. He was placed on IR. If they make him active for this game, I gotta feel like he's over it.
Yeah, I think that could be accurate.
Because why would you keep him out for 3 games and not practice him or do anything with him just to rush him back in week 4?
Well, that's why I just don't think he's going to be active this week. I think probably he has to be taken off of the designated for return IR so that he doesn't have to be on there all season. So I think they probably take him off and then leave him and make him a healthy scratch for the first week.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly fine. He has 21 days in order to figure this out. But if he is active, he will be in my lineup. The other ones down here I mentioned, Josh Reynolds is the min. Deontay Spencer's the min, and he's probably going to be filling in for the KJ Hamler spot against, like I said, that bad Ravens defense. He is an absolute home run hitter like KJ Hamler if that's the way you want to go. You probably don't need to go down this low. But I think that there are reasonable options in the 3K range this week.
There are reasonable options. The problem I have is that that's what I was just talking to you about. It's like, well, sure. So let's say Colin Johnson scores a touchdown, right, at 3,200. He gets 14. What is he making the optimals at that? Like how many because what if a bunch of 5K wide receivers, the ones we all like, what a bunch of those dudes go for 25 or 30, then you're still like kind of grouped out of the nuts.
I think it depends on how you want to build. Do you want to pay for Kelsey? Do you want to pay for Devontae Adams as one-offs? Then you got to go to these guys.
Yeah. No, you're right. Or you got to play a cheap quarterback. What I actually like is just playing all the disgusting tight ends and the cheapest possible defenses is kind of what I do.
Well, there's a cheap defense that lines up pretty well, and I think I don't know if they're going to be popular or not because people look at the name and be like, ugh, not doing that.
Yeah,
but
the Lions.
Yeah, the Lions at 22 is probably the play.
Yeah, I got him locked in. I love them.
Tight ends. Let's see here. Travis Kleiss, I think is how you pronounce his name. He's expensive.
Heard he's good.
Yeah, he's $8,100. He's more than any other receiver. In season-long fantasy, he's outscoring every other tight end by 6 points per game right now.
It seems good.
Yeah, it would probably... I asked this to Jake. If you were redrafting right now, knowing what you know now, if he would be the number 1 pick, wouldn't he?
Number 2 behind Kelsey, I think, or behind Henry, I think.
Yeah. 1 or 2, but man, 6 more points than any other one. That's such leverage on your league by having Travis Kelce.
He's the wide receiver 3, but he's eligible at the tight end position.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. So Kelsey, Kittle,
pretty good.
Yeah. Hi, Curb's coming back, by the way.
Never seen it.
Oh
I know.
God.
I know. You don't even have. I know.
What's wrong with you?
You don't even. I've gotten this spiel so many times.
That it hasn't made you watch it yet?
I mean, you get to things when you get to things. There's a finite number of hours in the day. You know how it is, dude.
You can reallocate the 15 hours a day you were spending doing best ball drafts and just pound out seasons on your phone.
Dude, you joke, but like it's created a real gap in my brain space. Like at my consciousness at the gym is much different now. I've like had to like find like new things to do on my phone when I'm doing cardio because I get so bored.
Well, here's the thing. This is the secret to not being bored during cardio is you can cut down on your cardio time by doing it too. Don't treat cardio as something that's like a relaxing wind down. Like just press, go as hard as you can. Then
I do.
How can you be on your phone?
I do.
That's impossible.
No, because I do the Stairmaster. That's the
well. Then get on the treadmill and crank it up to 9 and start running.
No, I don't want to do that. I know for a fact I don't want to do that. But I get my heart rate. I get my heart rate to the right range where I want it. I get it in between 140 and 160. It's right where I want it for my cardio. But I want to be on my phone. I want to make that time productive.
Oh, it could be productive. You could spend less time doing it, making it more efficient, and make your workout better.
But that's also like that's my me time, dude. Like that's like my time to go to the gym. That is we've talked about this before. Like I'm not trying to rush through my time there because that's my time to be, like dude, you have kids, like you get the whole deal.
Oh, listen, I like my me time as well. And I get so little of it, but I find that like pushing myself as hard as I can go, whether it's like max lift at all times, which is normally what I do now when I go, or like max speed that I can run for as long as I can on the treadmill. It is, now that my calf is better, which is just excellent news, but I'm not on my phone. I'm not thinking about anything. The only thing that I'm thinking about is like, how much longer can I keep running? And it's nice just to, you're not thinking about anything else. You're just thinking about like survival and like, can I get this one back up for another rep? Can I do another mile on this? And you're not thinking about anything else. It's really relaxing. I find it, you get like, you feel like you're full of energy after you get back, but at the same time, you haven't been like on my phone the entire time, like thinking about football or thinking about content that's coming out or reading weird COVID stuff that's coming through, like push alerts on my phone. Like I have a singular thing that I'm doing, just survival mode. And I feel very mentally refreshed afterwards too, because I haven't been thinking about anything.
Yeah, I mean that has value in it too. But I get my electronic detox time because after I get done working for the day, I go upstairs and I go meditate. So that's my phone detox. No football time of the day. I got it all scheduled out, dude.
All right. I should stick to a better schedule with that, like I should for this show. Let's reset on tight ends for the time.
Let's reset
for time code purposes on this one. You say Dalton Schultz, $3,400. I can't imagine that not being a really popular play, especially because Conklin may or may not play now, who's $100 more. Play. And then Gerald Everett was just put on the COVID list. He's $3,200. I guess Dawson Knox would be the other one at $3,600. Will Fuller's banged up. I might just play Gesicki.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with Gesicki because like his season-long target share doesn't look so good.
Yeah, but you can't. But you need to put that in some perspective. Now he has Brissett.
He also is expensive now relative to what I want to pay for Mike Gesicki. Like I would much rather play $3,000 Evan Ingram. I would even rather go up to Higbee. Let me tell you the guy who has my eye this week, Albert Okuibunam. I think is an incredible play. I mean, he is 2,600. He was basically a full-time player before KJ Hamler got hurt, 56%, 54%, and 43% of the snaps.
That sounds like he is I'm not going to lie to you, based on the numbers you just told me, it sounds like he plays half the time.
But on a team with week one, a team with 4 good wide receivers, he plays 56% of the time. Now they're down to 2 good wide receivers. I think he's going to play a ton against Baltimore. That's like this Albert O play is like my like hot take of the week that like Albert O is gonna play, I don't know, 65% of the snaps or whatever.
If you just want to put $2,600 players up against each other, give me Walt Disley against the Niners at $2,600 if Everett's out.
I think you are. Yeah, Disley is a good play. I need to go remove Gerald Everett from our projections real quick, actually.
I mean, he's not. I don't know. Like, they haven't released his vac status or anything like that.
These dudes are not going to play. These dudes who test positive on Monday are just not going to play. I would be very surprised because they said Everett had symptoms too, right?
I just saw that he was placed on the COVID list, and that's all I heard about it.
Yeah. Well, it's more helpful for the Sims and everything to know the optimal probability. So I'm taking him out right now.
Now, I assume he just boosts up huge if Will Disley would, if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, what they play this freaking dude. This how annoying are the Seahawks? They play this Colby Parkinson guy. I can't. I just cannot with the Seahawks sometimes. Their playing time allocations are so funny to me. Like, and they've never had a good third wide receiver in the history of their franchise.
Would you pay up for Kittle at 59? I feel like this is a nice spot against the Seahawks.
Yes, I would. Especially because I think my guess is that our ownership stuff looks weird right now because we don't have Schultz projected for enough. So I think Kittle is going to end up I think Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo. We didn't really talk about them at wide receiver. I think they're all really good plays this week. And I'm not crazy about stacking though.
Well, you can't actually do the San Francisco stack because you would have to play Jimmy G, but Jimmy G gets undercut because Trey Lance might come in at the 5-yard line. Like, his ceiling is non-existent.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, like if you play Jimmy G gets like 330 passing yards and he gets cucked on the goal line twice. Like you just know that's going to happen.
Yeah. You don't want that. You don't want to be Tim Andercuck out there. It's bad.
No,
news.
you really don't.
Stacks and quarterbacks. Are there any one-off quarterbacks you can consider playing if you had to save money or wanted to play? Or is it all just...
Yeah, it's Fields.
You would go back at 5,200?
He's 5,200. I try not to overreact too much to what we saw in one game against a good defense. I think he will run a lot relative to what most quarterbacks would do. So if I was going to a naked quarterback who I just wanted to get 22 points, I think Justin Fields would be the guy that I would do that week. But I think there are so many good stack and double stack options this week that I can't imagine that would be part of my strategy.
Well, who do you think is the best one? Because obviously, like the Chiefs and Eagles game, that's going to be projected for a ton of points. I've been bringing up the Vikings and the Browns. I kind of like Kyler. I don't know if by himself, because you can get that stack so wrong, but you know that Kyler is going to be involved regardless. And then just play Kyler and Cup or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, my isn't the best stack just Dak and CD and Amari though.
Yeah, probably with Hubbard.
Yeah, it's
or Robbie
or Robbie or DJ. I really like your Robbie call. I don't think I highlighted that enough. I mean, I think a bunch of the time here, Robbie Anderson does jack shit and DJ Moore gets 25 points, but DJ Moore will maybe be the most owned wide receiver this week, and Robbie Anderson will be
not owned.
Forgotten about.
Yeah, he'll be like 1%,
2%. Yeah. Terrace Marshall too. I mean, you can. I think
that's a tougher one. That's a tougher sell for me in this spot because at least Robbie's still getting the deep targets on that team. He's just not getting a ton of them because, frankly, they haven't needed to pass deep all that often.
Yeah,
and they should against Dallas. You would think, unless Dallas's offense just goes in the tank. It might just go back to Hurts, Devontae, and then the Chiefs on the other side.
Hurts is like the ultimate hair on fire quarterback. Like his team's losing by 20 and he is just racking up the fantasy points. He's been a top 12. He's been a top 12 quarterback all 3 weeks of the season. It's not going to change. This is just what he's going to do.
Now, would you think, like, I'm just trying to think about how like he ends up in an optimal. You'd think it's like, 350 passing yards, 100 rushing yards, a bunch of touchdowns. If he can get to the 300 bonus again, obviously someone needs to come along for the ride. You'd think it's Devontae Smith. It could be Rager because he's still the deep guy on that team when they actually just take 9 shots down the field. But could you just play Hurts by himself and then put the Chiefs on the other side and hope he rushes in three of them?
You could totally play Hurts by yourself, but why not Zach Ertz, who is just going to do what he always does, which is he is going to catch the ball and he is going to fall down and he is going to out target Dallas Goedert. He is 3,500, so he's not free. You'd like him to be a little bit cheaper, but I'm pretty into it.
The Dak stack isn't all that expensive, is it?
No, they really messed up. Like, so here, let me pull up my lineup real quick. So you can, if you punt defense, which I think you should do most weeks. So you got Dak in there. You have Lamb in there. Who do you like more between? Let's put Robbie in this team, and then who do you want as our second Cowboy? Do you want Schultz or do you want Amari?
I want Amari. It's Amari. Okay.
It's Amari. So we have Dak, CeeDee, Robbie, Amari in the Lions defense, and we still have 5,800 left per slot, 23,300 left over. That allows you to play a cheap tight end and 2 running backs that you like, right? So you could, that 6K range that we talked about, right? Yeah. Madison, Miles Sanders, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, Gibson, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, or if you really wanted to punt your flex, you could put in, if Samuel plays, you could put in Curtis Samuel, then all of a sudden just pay up for everyone.
Yep. So I expect that to be an incredibly popular lineup construction this week, though the way you save it. So I think there are 2 things you can do.
Robbie saves
super chalk.
Like
Robbie or Ezekiel Elliott with Dak.
Yeah, or you play Hubbard as the comeback guy potentially, or just play. It's Robbie Anderson's the answer.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't hate the stacking Dak with Zeke thing. I think that I think there's a little bit of receiving upside. I mean, Zeke almost scored a receiving touchdown last week.
Well, here's the thing. What if Carolina's defense is actually good, like as good as the Chargers' defense was? Because it could.
It is in the realm of possibilities.
There is one game, like something about this Rams Arizona game I really like. I think it's going to be really fast paced, which I like. But there is one game that we've kind of talked about it on like the outside, but there could be a ton of points. I don't even know at DraftKings Sportsbook what the over under is right now. Let me go look this up because I assume that it's low. And I can see how
game.
I don't know. I'm doing a tease, Davis. I'm doing a tease.
Oh, okay.
It is 45.5 is the over under. I think that Ravens Broncos could be a shootout.
Could go over. Yeah. I think that's a good take actually.
And then you could play like Lamar with Hollywood and Cortland Sutton as a mini stack. That's not very expensive. You could go Teddy. Teddy's only $5,700 if you think that they will only pass on the Ravens because their secondary is bad. Run defense is a little bit better. I mean, I could see a ton of points coming from here, and you can kind of draw the line to where the points are going to go a lot of the time too with these teams.
Yes, you can. I mean, so you run Lamar, who projects like shit, so he's going to be very low owned. You run Lamar, Marquise Brown, Cortland Sutton, and I don't think you never need to double stack Lamar because so much of his production comes via the rush.
Yeah, so you just play those 3 guys, or you play Fant if you want to coming back. You can play Tim Patrick instead of Sutton. I like Sutton, and that's a pretty cheap one to tell you the truth. Then you can do like a mini correlation somewhere else in your lineup too.
Alberto, baby.
Do you need to save that much money if you're playing that stack?
If you wanted to play it with Derrick Henry, or if you wanted to play it with Devontae Adams,
I don't even think you need to.
Right?
Like, well, what's the upside of Alberto in this spot? Like 4 catches for 51 yards and 2 touchdowns. Is that the best possible game he could have?
Probably, I wouldn't even say 2 touchdowns. Probably.
I mean,
that's probably optimistic.
He could catch 2 touchdowns in a game. Anyone really could.
He could catch. I mean, that is the way he was used in college, and that was how they used him as a rookie before he got hurt. Was just all red zone stuff.
You mentioned the Dallas side. What about the Darnold side?
Well, so that is interesting because if Chuba is just no good, Darnold might just like run. Like Darnold has been running a little bit. He's got the rushing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, but he had 8 rushing attempts against Houston. And he ran a little bit for the Jets as well. I mean, I truly don't hate it, which, I kind of expected that I would when you said the name Sam Darnold.
The last one, obviously the Chiefs stack is going to be good. You can play Seattle if you wanted to. That one's a bit of a tougher sell to me. There is a team that's projected for a ton of points, and their quarterback was the best quarterback last week, and it's Josh Allen?
Yes. Yeah. You know what though? It feels to me like Josh Allen, you play him when the price dips. But I don't know. Can I play Josh Allen instead of Patrick Mahomes? I mean, I guess probably, but I don't know if I really want to.
You just go Allen and Diggs. I just don't think a lot of people are going to put those two up together.
Yeah, I think that is probably legit. I think you're probably right.
Like there's enough concerns around Diggs where if you can play them together and you get the Diggs game, you are dancing.
Yeah, you're smashing. Yeah. I think you're right. And well, I don't know. What do we think happens to the ownership of the secondary guys? Because if they're all unexpensive, I think maybe I like doing a different quarterback stack more with the Bills guys as your secondary guys.
I don't know at this point of the week, and I might not get a good grasp of who wants to play Sanders and Beasley and Dawson Knox, but it does feel like Diggs is going to be weirdly the odd man out because people would just looking at the pricing at receiver, who wouldn't want to use Devontae Adams? Who wouldn't want to use Justin Jefferson? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
there's just so many good wide receiver plays this week.
Is Allen going to be that popular?
No, I don't think so. I think that most of the quarterback ownership will be Dak, Kyler, Stafford, Mahomes, probably. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
That sounds right to me as well, unless people like really dig. I bet you the optimizer likes Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes. Our most owned, actually, we have Josh Allen projected as the most owned quarterback, but that so much of the ownership is tied to team total this early in the week. So that could change a little bit.
Yeah. Just trying to see here. Optimal percentages on, let's see, where are we at here? Optimal results for quarterback. Let's sort by quarterback. Who's the number one that pops up? Josh Allen's actually number one in the optimal percentage at around 10%.
Yeah. That, which after what he did last week, like that makes a ton of sense. And like we were talking about with running backs who catch a ton of passes or wide receivers to run a little bit, Josh Allen can have the insane passing game and add 40 yards and a rushing touchdown.
And it's a revenge game for Josh Allen of the backwards weird lateral in that playoff game against the Texans.
Wow. That's why people listen to the Mayo show. That's why they pay you the big bucks, buddy.
Defenses, we mentioned the Lions at $2,200. That feels like the best play.
Yeah, gotta be.
Colts at 20. Colts at 27. I don't hate either.
See, I was looking, the Colts, but I was looking at defenses under 3,000. Don't really love the 49ers against Mahomes. Don't love the Browns. Hate the Giants defense. Hate the Cardinals defense. Hate the Cowboys defense. Don't love the Vikings. Hate the Seahawks. The Falcons would be the pivot. Because, what I like to do is I
did that last week.
Tournaments. How'd they do? They do anything?
No, they did nothing. And they played the Giants.
Well, Heineke is worse than Daniel Jones. So I don't know. That's all I got for you.
Is he worse than Daniel Jones?
He truly might not be. Daniel Jones might be like all-time bad. You could be right.
It's a tough scene for old Danny Jones. There is one game, and I picked the Steelers this week +7, and now it's already down to 6.5, and I can't figure out who else is putting money on the Steelers this week. It seems like everyone's all in on the Packers. Steelers D, if this game is actually a trap, might be the move with them getting their guys back. Their defense is still legit. If they can just figure out how to move the ball a little bit, then they can be very competitive in this game. And Rodgers, not immune to bad games.
Yeah. No, I don't think you're wrong.
I don't know if I have the guts.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. It's just like, you watch that sepia tone Ben Roethlisberger video that Steven Ruiz posted.
Yes.
Like, I don't think I can be on any Steelers anything after watching that. Like, it just was too hilariously pointing out how dust Ben Roethlisberger is. Like, I just think I got to be done with them. Like, I don't even really want to play Najee this week.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, every time I look, just Lions. That might be the first click that I make. Just Lions D.
Yeah,
and then we get burned because all of a sudden Fields is good.
well, look, I mean, stranger things have happened. No doubt about it.
Miami D is 32. I was going to say Chiefs D, but even against Hurts, I don't know. Washington at 35 seems pretty good.
Do you ever find yourself paying up for these defenses? I never.
Yeah, I can
find
see it.
myself here.
It really it's you know what it usually is because I went 100% Patriots against Zach Wilson in week 2. Whenever the Patriots play a rookie quarterback, I just generally lock in the Patriots.
You just jam.
Yeah, and it works out more often than not.
Yeah, I would assume that is true, but I don't know. The way that I construct my teams, I'm just always spending so much on quarterback because I like to make Mahomes teams so often, and then I like to try and use these expensive wide receivers as one-offs instead of as part of the stack. That I'm always playing the Lions, the Falcons, the Titans. Like I'm just always playing these crappy defenses.
This might be the best one of these we've ever done, Davis. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but we make the shitter lineup these days. So we have to put ourselves in the position of guy who logs on to DraftKings at 12:28 Eastern time on Sunday when he's taking his shit to build his lineup to throw into the middle.
I love that guy.
Can we replicate his lineup right now?
Yes,
okay.
I bet we can.
So who's the quarterback? Dak?
Got to be Dak. Yeah, got to be Dak.
But you said you have Josh Allen projected as the highest, right? Is it Josh Allen?
Well, this is the shitter lineup. I feel very confident that Dak is the shit, because when you're on the shitter, you don't want to click on your DFS site and like sort by value or whatever. So it's just easier to do, saving that 1,300.
All right. So Schultz is the tight end in this lineup, I'm guessing.
Yeah, gotta be, right.
Yeah. So there's a cheap guy, and I mean, shitter guy's not necessarily about correlation, but that is a nice correlation. I guess DJ Moore is also in this lineup at $6,600.
DJ, gotta be.
So Dak, DJ Moore, Schultz. Do we want any other Cowboys?
No, I don't think shitter guy's double stacking.
Okay, so that's our exposure from that game. Now we just got to find the chalk guys at every other position. Is DeAndre Swift going to be chalk or not?
No, I don't think shitter guy likes running backs who have to catch that many passes. I think shitter guy plays Najee Harris if he wants a pass catching running back.
Really? You think they would take a Steeler right now? You know,
people just remember that he got 19 targets.
This is stupid. Shitter guy's playing Derrick Henry against the Jets, like 100%.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. That is accurate.
It's funny. We built this lineup last week and it was good.
Just smashed.
Yeah, it was Bucks Rams.
Bucks Rams, pretty good.
Would shitter guy use Lions defense?
Yes. Yeah, because shitter guy just remembers that Justin Fields was terrible last week.
Okay, so Lions D is in. We have $5,500 left. So we need another chalky pay down spot. Probably not at running back. It's probably at receiver. Who's like the chalk pay down?
Colin Johnson, right?
No, you think shitter guy knows who Colin Johnson is?
Okay, shitter guy, cheap wide receiver. Shitter guy could be KJ Osborne because he remembers the long touchdown.
Okay, maybe. I'm gonna put that one on.
And shitter guy likes fantasy points per game, and KJ Osborne is 13.1 fantasy points per game.
You see, I think that shitter guy is more likely not going to go in the 3K range. I'm thinking like AJ Green. Maybe that's someone they would throw in.
Tim Patrick.
You
another
think
one.
Tim Patrick, Jalen Waddle coming off, just an immense amount of targets.
Could be Waddle.
This one's tougher. Let's try to figure out the rest of it. Who's the other running back? It's probably Clyde Edwards-Helaire after last week.
Yeah. I think Clyde or CH. Or Clyde or Swift.
All right, so we'll go with Clyde. He's $5,400. We'll chuck him in there. And we're not concerned about the late swap with the late guy because shitter guy's not thinking about that. 100%
shitter guy, no.
That.
Yeah,
so we need
0%.
We need two receivers here. 5,600, unless we really want to cheap out at flex, we can just pound this middle range. We could play Devontae Adams and then figure it out after the fact. Is there another like $6,000 receiver you think that guys will go to?
Odell. Got to be Odell.
Okay, so we'll chuck in Odell. So we got 5,500 left for two spots now.
And
you know who Shitter Guy might go to? If Josh Allen's actually projecting to be that popular, it might be Emmanuel Sanders.
I see Amari Cooper projected for like 19% ownership, so maybe we just do that.
Okay, we'll go on Murray. I don't hate this lineup, by the way.
No, Shitter Guy is looking live for a min cash here.
Oh, you might just print this week. So we got $5,100 for a flex.
It's not great. It's like Manny Sanders or Jalen Waddle.
We'll say Manny Sanders. That sounds more likely to me. So we'll throw in Emmanuel Sanders.
Hey, dude, Shitter Guy is min cashing the Millie Maker.
Let's see. Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DJ Moore, Odell Beckham, Amari Cooper, Dalton Schultz, Emmanuel Sanders, and Lions D. Got $200. Although Shitter Guy probably wouldn't leave $200 on the table. We're going to go with that.
There we go.
Because Shitter Guy would
Smashing.
he would use all, he or she really, would use all $50,000 of salary cap, correct?
It depends on how many DFS shows they've watched.
That's true. All right. RunTheSims.com is free this week. All you got to do is go put in your email, get access to the optimizer. Wouldn't you have liked to have free access to an optimizer? Not you being Davis and people would just give you free access. If you were Shitter Guy, I'd be like, I've always wondered what these optimizers are, but it costs like $200 to use one. Now you can use one for free. Wouldn't it be a good time to try that out, Davis?
I mean, look, it's very nice to have free things given to you. So I would encourage you to take advantage of it while it's free.
There you are. What's going on over at Daily Roto and Sports Grid right now?
All the usual stuff on Daily Roto, projections, all the stuff you guys need to bonk your contest. Sports Grid Fantasy Football Podcast out every day during the week. Takecast every Wednesday. If you just search for my name on anything really, you'll find all that stuff. It's very easy.
Verified on Twitter, Davis Mattek.
Finally, dude. Finally. Took long enough.
Did you have to go through the process of doing that?
Yeah, like 10 times.
Oh, really? See, I've never tried to do that. I feel like if I'm going to ever get verified, I'm going to come in one day and it's going to have a check next to it.
Well, so what they're doing now is all the people who work for big media companies are just getting it, and they're not even having to submit anything. I honestly would have guessed that you were verified.
No, it never happened. I've never really looked into it.
It's not very. I bet you'd get it right away. It's not very hard.
I don't know
these days. I think they're giving them out more easily.
I think I'd rather put my energy into getting the fake Tim Andercust account verified.
The Tim Q Ander whatever.
No, there's like 100 of them. There's one that's Tim Andercust at Tim Andercust. To get that, we faked it one time with Tim. We photoshopped in a blue check mark next to that account, and he lost his mind.
Does Tim want to be verified on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Damn. Yeah, you should do that. You should put the work in there.
I'll try. I'll see if I can scan a copy of his license or something like that. Steal it when he's not looking. It's probably the move.
Or just find someone, talk to someone at Twitter support and be like, this would be a funny joke. So please let us do it.
I don't know if Twitter's big on the old yokes these days.
Oh, yeah, man, Jack seems like a very serious guy these days.
I am winning so much money right now. Golf. Glad to be back. Oh, there's only 400 spots left in the Listeners League. You should go get that right now. They keep asking me to
hop in.
Well, they keep asking me to make it bigger. I was like, no. We don't want to do, because week one, it took forever to fill with 5,000 spots. And you'd think week one would be the week that everyone would play. So I was just like, just make it 3,000 spots and don't ever increase it. And it will just always have demand, because it is the best tournament on DraftKings. There's no rake. Why wouldn't you want to play in it?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I don't want to have to be the guy on Sunday being like, man, please join my Listeners League. Like, I don't want to do that. I want the listeners to go.
Will you join it, bro? Please, we're about to sell out. Make it bigger.
Yeah, I don't want to have.
No one wants that.
I don't want to be that guy. So 3,000.
No.
Until it starts filling by Wednesday morning, then I'll make it bigger. How about that?
I think that's reasonable. I think that is a reasonable thing to ask of the people. So if you want it bigger, join it on Wednesday.
Join it right away. It's funny because the golf one fills so much faster than the football one. I guess people get around to football later in the week. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, oh man, I'm so lazy. I haven't even created my head-to-heads and stuff yet this week. I'm really slacking.
Yeah, how lazy, bro? It's terrible.
Normally I do it on Monday, but apparently I was not into it this week.
Why? You seem like a high demand scoop head-to-head guy. Like when you post, do they immediately get scooped?
Not immediately, but pretty much everyone who listens to the podcast, they're like, they love to do it. Levitan gets this too. I get the best games. Like I get people who have just no clue who play against me. It's very nice. I can't complain.
I would play shitter lineup against whatever you're playing head-to-head this week.
I might play the shitter lineup. It's a good team.
It's not a bad team. All right, at Davis Mattek.
It's not a bad team.
On Twitter, SportsGrid, TakeCast, Daily Roto. You can find all of it, Listener League, link down in the description. Smash the like on the way out. I will be back with Pizzola and Cam tomorrow for the best bets. See you then.
Fan Mayo Experience! Experience!